Well, ANALYSED brings you the untold story of Mcebisi Jonas's affidavit, a deputy finance minister's story about being offered the finance minister's job by the Gupta family doesn't add up. The version he gave the public protector doesn't match his media statement. Some of the contradictions are that Jonas told Thuli Madonsela that he, the president's son, Duduzane Zuma, and Fana Hlongwane only met AJ Gupta at his Saxon World home. But in his media statement, he claims to have met members of the Gupta family. Jonas also told Madonsela that he was driven to the airport from the Gupta mansion by Zuma and Hlongwane, but the public protector's report says that Duduzane Zuma was in Saxon World at the time. There's also no proof of Hlongwane's presence at the airport. Well, my colleague Kiora Pete Mahlobo gives us more details on whether Madonsela's observations are selective.
Let's just take a look at the observations that Madonsela made, which seem to be very selective. Once again, we have page references for our viewers' discretion. Now, she says, I obtained and analyzed telephonic records of persons implicated by Mr. Jonas to corroborate his statements. Now, the public protector's observations are that the above telephone communication appears to confirm Mr. Jonas's version of events, that prior to October 2015, he had never communicated with Mr. D. Zuma. The question here is, how can the report assume that Jonas couldn't have used another cell phone to communicate with D. Zuma prior to October 2015? Now, while the records place both Mr. Hlongwane and Mr. D. Zuma at Saxon World, they did not show Mr. Jonas at the same location. The records, however, show that Mr. Jonas was at the airport later on the same date, which also confirms his version of events. And that's according to Ms. Madonsela. The question here, question number one, is the fact that no call record places Jonas at Saxon World raises questions on the reliability of the call records as conclusive evidence. Question number two is, why are there no call records to show the billable events, that's text messages or phone calls, made by both Hlongwane and D. Zuma from Saxon World? How did their locations get registered? Key question number three is, why is there no mention of the billable event registered from Jonas's cell phone at the airport in the report? Now, Ms. Madonsela also says, I'm yet to interview both Mr. Hlongwane and Mr. D. Zuma to obtain their version of events. The key question here is, how could Madonsela come to any inferences without interviewing the third party, which was in the person of D. Zuma?
The supposed to be most corrupt person in this process, it's Arthur. He was not interviewed. The question is why? The most corrupt, the person who offered the deputy minister 600K or 600,000 plus 6 billion in part payment, he was never interviewed in this case. Instead, as he says, we focus on ESCOM. This is very clear that actually this was not about state capture. And I've said it before. This whole report, it was about the Gupta family entering a business sector that was lily-white before, that was primarily and wholly owned by white capital.
The white monopoly capital that owns a lot of supply arrangement with ESCOM want to dislodge the Gupta contract. That's really what this is about.
The investigation by the public protector is untenable from day one on many fronts. But the position of the erstwhile public protector is aggravated. That untenable position is aggravated even by coming up with unconstitutional and unlawful remedial action and has been. And that is misconduct, which cannot be left alone.